In September of 2000, three guys flew on a chartered plane from California to Dallas, wearing shorts and flip-flops, to offer a dying .com startup to the biggest video rental company on Earth. The asking price? $50 million. The buyer, Blockbuster, was a $6 billion juggernaut. 9,000 stores. 60 million customers. The uncontested king of Friday night entertainment in America. The seller, a little struggling startup called Netflix. Blockbuster's CEO sat through the pitch, and according to the people in that room, he had to physically choke back his laughter. Today, Netflix is worth over $200 billion. Blockbuster has exactly one store left on planet Earth. This is the story of the most expensive laugh in business history. If you're new here, this channel is about the financial stories behind the brands that built the America you grew up in, the ones that defined weekends, holidays, childhoods, and then quietly vanished. Today we're tackling maybe the most cinematic corporate collapse of the last 30 years. Because Blockbuster isn't just a failed video store. Blockbuster was a ritual. It was the smell of fresh popcorn and cheap carpet. It was fighting your sister over the last copy of The Matrix on a Friday night. It was the yellow ticket stuck on your fridge reminding you that your rental was already 4 days late. And in the span of about 10 years, an entire generation's weekly tradition, gone. Not because people stopped watching movies, because one company refused to believe the future was coming for them. Stay with me. This one has a villain, a hero, a billionaire corporate raider, and one of the greatest I told you so moments in American business. October 19th, 1985, Dallas, Texas. A software developer named David Cook opens the first Blockbuster video. And right away, this store is different. The video rental business in 1985 was mostly mom-and-pop operations. Dingy, limited selection. The adult section, hidden behind a curtain. A typical store carried maybe a few hundred tapes. David Cook's first Blockbuster opened with over 8,000. But here's the real innovation. And this is the finance angle that matters. Cook came from the oil and gas software industry. He understood data. Every single VHS tape in his store had a barcode. Every checkout was tracked in a computer system. He knew in real time what was renting, what was sitting on the shelf, and what each customer had rented before. In 1985, that was science fiction. That was essentially the first Amazon recommendation engine, 20 years before Amazon. In 1987, David Cook sells part of the business to a group of investors led by a man named Wayne Huizenga. Huizenga is the founder of Waste Management, the largest garbage company in the world. He knows exactly one thing: how to scale a franchise faster than humanly possible. Huizenga turns Blockbuster into a machine. At one point in the early 1990s, Blockbuster is opening a new store roughly every 17 hours. Every 17 hours. By 1994, the media giant Viacom, the parent company of MTV and Nickelodeon, buys Blockbuster for $8.4 billion. That's over $17 billion in today's money. For a company that rents movies. By 2004, Blockbuster hits its absolute peak. 9,094 stores worldwide. 84,300 employees. A presence in 17 countries. You could walk into a Blockbuster in Denmark, Peru, Japan, or Brazil. And here's the statistic that tells you everything. At its peak, Blockbuster was generating approximately $800 million a year in revenue. From late fees alone. Not movie rentals. Late fees. Hold that number in your head. $800 million a year in punishment money. Because that number is about to explain everything. Netflix was founded in 1997 by two guys, Marc Randolph and a software engineer named Reed Hastings. And the origin story, which may or may not be entirely accurate, but it's the story Hastings tells, is this. Reed Hastings rents a VHS copy of Apollo 13 from Blockbuster. He loses track of it. When he finally returns it, he's hit with a $40 late fee. He's furious. He's embarrassed. He doesn't want to tell his wife. And on the drive to the gym, he thinks to himself, what if a video rental business worked like a gym membership? You pay a flat fee. You keep it as long as you want. No late fees, ever. So Netflix launches as a DVD by mail service. You go online, pick your movies, they mail you a red envelope, you watch it, you mail it back. No driving, no returning by midnight, no shame. By the year 2000, Netflix has about 300,000 subscribers. They're bleeding cash. The dot-com bubble is collapsing. They're on track to lose around $50 million that year. They have maybe months of runway left. So Reed Hastings and Marc Randolph decide to do something radical. They're going to sell Netflix to Blockbuster. That way, Blockbuster gets the online business, Netflix gets rescued, and both companies win. September 2000. Renaissance Tower, 27th floor, Blockbuster headquarters in Dallas. Reed Hastings, Marc Randolph, and their CFO Barry McCarthy walk in, literally straight from a company retreat, which is why in multiple accounts they're dressed in shorts and flip-flops. On the other side of the glass conference table, John Antioco, CEO of Blockbuster. Antioco is a retail superstar. He just came off turning around Taco Bell and 7-Eleven. He's known as one of the sharpest operators in the business. Reed Hastings makes his pitch. He proposes that Blockbuster buy Netflix. Netflix will run Blockbuster's online arm. Blockbuster will promote Netflix in their stores. The two companies become one. Antioco listens politely. Then he asks the obvious question, how much? Hastings says, $50 million. Marc Randolph later wrote that he watched Antioco's lip twitch. And he knew, in that split second, exactly what was happening. The CEO of Blockbuster was physically trying not to laugh. Antioco's exact reasoning, which he reportedly shared with colleagues afterward, was this. Netflix was a niche business. The whole dot-com hysteria was, and I'm quoting, completely overblown. And why would a $6 billion company with 9,000 stores buy a tiny, unprofitable mail-order startup? The meeting ends. Hastings, Randolph, and McCarthy walk out. Reed Hastings later wrote that night, lying in bed, he had this vision of 60,000 Blockbuster employees all laughing at him at once. And here's the thing everyone forgets. Antioco wasn't stupid. From where he was sitting in September 2000, the math kind of made sense. Netflix was losing money. The dot-com crash was in progress. And $50 million for 300,000 subscribers. That's over $160 per subscriber for a customer who might not even exist in a year. Except he wasn't buying subscribers. He was buying the future. And he didn't see it. Here's the part of the story that usually gets skipped. John Antioco eventually did get it. By 2004, Netflix had grown to millions of subscribers, and Antioco could read the writing on the wall. So he made two massive bet-the-company decisions. First, in late 2004, he launched Blockbuster Online, a direct DVD by mail service to compete with Netflix head-on. Second, and this is the big one, in January 2005, he announced the end of late fees. Completely eliminated. The single most profitable revenue stream the company had. Remember that $800 million a year? He gave it up because he finally understood the brand damage was killing them. Then in late 2006, he launched Blockbuster Total Access, a brilliant hybrid product. You could get DVDs mailed to your house like Netflix, or you could trade them in at any physical Blockbuster store. Netflix couldn't match that. Physical stores were actually an advantage. And it worked. By the last quarter of 2006, Blockbuster's online subscriber base was growing faster than Netflix's. For a minute, Blockbuster was actually winning. And then one of the most notorious activist investors in Wall Street history stepped in and burned the whole thing down. His name is Carl Icahn, corporate raider, hostile takeover legend. And in 2005, Icahn had bought up almost 10% of Blockbuster's stock and muscled his way onto the board of directors. Icahn looked at the numbers and he saw one thing. Antioco's online strategy was expensive. Eliminating late fees was expensive. Total access was expensive. All of it was destroying short-term profits in the name of long-term survival. Icahn didn't care about long-term survival. Icahn cared about the next quarter. So in 2007, Carl Icahn and his allies on the board pushed John Antioco out. They gutted his bonus. They forced him to leave. And they brought in a new CEO, Jim Keyes, who immediately reversed everything Antioco had built. Late fees came back. Investment in the online business got slashed. The focus went back to stores. Antioco later said, quote, "The biggest regret of his career was letting the board pressure him out before his strategy could finish playing out." And this is the part the story usually misses. It wasn't just that Blockbuster passed on Netflix in 2000. It's that Blockbuster almost caught up in 2006, and then a hedge fund billionaire killed the one guy trying to save it. By March of 2010, Blockbuster's own accountants, PricewaterhouseCoopers, publicly flagged substantial doubt about whether the company could even continue operating. On September 23, 2010, Blockbuster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. $900 million in debt. 3,300 stores still open, all of them about to start closing. In 2011, what was left of Blockbuster was bought at auction by Dish Network for about $320 million. Dish tried to keep a few hundred locations running, then gave up. By January 2014, every corporate-owned Blockbuster in America was closed. That same year, Netflix officially surpassed every major cable television network in the United States by subscriber count. There is exactly one Blockbuster left in the world. It is in Bend, Oregon. It is franchise-owned, which is why it survived when all the corporate stores did not. It is run by a woman named Sandy Harding, who is affectionately known online as Blockbuster Mom. The store pays an annual licensing fee to Dish Network to keep the Blockbuster name. It rents real, physical DVDs and Blu-rays. The carpet is still that exact shade of 1990s blue. The shelves are still lined with plastic cases. There is a section of memorabilia from a fan who donated props from Russell Crowe movies. People fly in from around the world to visit it. It has been featured on Netflix, yes, Netflix, in a documentary called The Last Blockbuster. In 2020, during COVID, it was briefly listed as an Airbnb where you could rent the store for a 1990s-themed sleepover. It is, functionally, a museum pretending to be a business. And it is exactly the right ending for this story. Here's what the Blockbuster story is really about. It's not about Netflix being smarter. Netflix almost died multiple times. It's not about technology. Blockbuster had better data infrastructure than Netflix in 1999. It's not even about the $50 million meeting, as legendary as that moment is. The real story of Blockbuster is about what happens when a company's most profitable product, in this case, late fees, becomes the thing that customers hate the most. Blockbuster was addicted to the revenue its own customers resented. And when a competitor showed up offering the same service without the punishment, the customers didn't just switch, they ran. It's also a story about what happens when short-term thinking kills long-term survival. John Antioco had a plan. It was working. And a billionaire activist investor looking at the next quarterly report pushed him out before he could finish. You can see that exact same pattern everywhere in American business right now. Companies strangled by people who value the spreadsheet more than the business. Blockbuster didn't die because of the internet. Blockbuster died because it punished the people who loved it and rewarded the people who were trying to kill it. And somewhere in Bend, Oregon, the last one is still open. Because some things, even the ones that are gone, we just can't let go of. If this story hit you, if you still remember the smell of that popcorn or the weight of those blue and yellow cases, do me a favor. Hit subscribe. This channel is building out an entire series on the American brands that built our childhoods and then disappeared. Sears, Toys R Us, Kmart, Circuit City, Radio Shack, the death of the shopping mall, all coming. There's a video on screen right now about insert next video title. Go watch it next. I'll see you in the next one.